Hi, I'm Keith Morey, Provo City's Economic Development Director. We've talked a lot about the rich startup environment in Provo and its influence on tech development in our area and the region and the state and really the world. And we're privileged today to have the opportunity to sit down with a pioneering legend in tech development, Alan Ashton, who had some incredible success, as all of us know from the computers that we use every day, developing tech in Utah 50 years ago or plus. So welcome, Alan. It's great to sit with you.
Well, thank you. I came to the Provo-Orem area in 1972 from the University of Utah. And there I had put together an electronic organ under computer control and was playing music by the numbers, and brought that down to BYU, where I was an assistant professor at the time in 1972. I had always wanted to use the computer to help me with editing. When I did my doctorate, I put it in and then had a little runoff program that did the editing.
Oh, wow.
So that it was on the computer. And so when I got to BYU, I would assign my students tasks and to do various editing. I knew that if we could have a word processor on mini computers that would be on general purpose computers, that would be really a hit in the technology realm. It would be for everybody, students at home, mothers, others keeping track of word processing of their documents and things. And so over the next few years, actually a couple of years only, Bruce and I together were programming and produced on the Data General AOS operating environment a word processing system. In January of '82, we got our first PC. We put the two boxes that the monitor and the computer came in and put the door of a little office on top of it, and that was the desk for Alan Brown, who was one of my star students at BYU. I had an advantage because I was teaching computer science, and I could pluck out the very best students there, and they came to program and work for us.
Wow.
But by Thanksgiving of that same year, we were able to come out with our first IBM PC version of the word processor on the PC. And we did things that no one else, that WordStar and Multimate and others that were out a little bit earlier than us couldn't do. We put a time-sharing system right in the middle of WordPerfect so that we could print and edit at the same time. None of the other early machines could do that, but I had done that on our music program, and I knew how to do it, and I was teaching the students how to do it, and they knew how to do it, and so we put it right in there, and we managed the files, and we did some things that were way ahead of its time.
Yeah. So if I think about WordPerfect, at what point did it peak? I mean, how big did actually WordPerfect get, and when was that?
I think right around 1990, we had 40% of the worldwide market. That was, we were in 81 countries and 16 different languages. Bruce had led our international effort. Bruce Bastian did a marvelous job in doing that. It was an exciting time for us because we had the major companies in the U.S., Ford Motors and the government and other places, and they were saying to us, don't innovate so quickly.
Oh, really?
Because you're sending out these boxes and we have to update all of our software. And meanwhile, there were customers that were crying for more and more.
My perception is that most of the tech that we experience, that we enjoy today, in some way is influenced by you. Am I accurate? What are your thoughts about that?
That's what I have seen. I have met individuals that have come to me and said, thank you for the work at WordPerfect Corporation. I'm now managing this company, I'm the head of this company, and so on, and that's been really thrilled. I think if you look over the landscape of technology today, you would be hard-pressed to find anywhere where there hasn't been an influence from WordPerfect and Novell.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Well, it's interesting to me because I think that's one of the things that's unique about Utah is the quality of life here and the strength of our economy. The value systems that we have are so phenomenal that when those companies kind of blew up, so to speak, the intellectual capital that was within them stayed here in the area because of how unique this environment is, and then went on to create one company after another after another. And as I just look across the landscape of Utah, and when people ask me, why has Utah's economy performed so well for so long? To me, it's exactly because of that. It's because of the entrepreneurial spirit, the pioneering spirit that we came to Utah with, decades and decades ago, and we've had consistently. It becomes part of the fabric of who we are and who our children are. Children of highly educated people that are professors at universities like Brigham Young University, or who have family members or parents that are tech developers, tend to think the same way, and instead of going out and buying a new thing, they think of new ways to make a new thing.
I had mentioned earlier that I felt good about going ahead and starting a company, a word processing company. And so I gave a touch to our Father in Heaven in prayer, and that made me feel really good about it. And I think that was one of the impetuses that caused Bruce Bastian too. And so it was a little bit difficult when the rug was pulled out from underneath us, right. But I thought, I've had this assurance, I'm going to just keep going forward, even though it looks like we've come to a wall that we couldn't surmount. And then the blessings that came later on. So I want to acknowledge blessings from on high.
It's a privilege to be able to sit down with Alan Ashton and talk about tech development in Utah, and it's another example of why the startup culture is so robust and so vibrant and such an essential part of the fabric of Provo, and from my perspective, another Provo advantage. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you so much.